Alright, good afternoon everyone watching at this time. I am going live at the moment to talk about the Akwa Indigenous Literature Project. It's important for us to begin to write and comment on works written by Akwa authors. And this is what this project is all about at this time. The Akwa Indigenous Literature Project is undertaken by Paneo Journal of Arts and Humanities, which is a publication of Paneo Publishers in affiliation with the Faculty of Arts, Akwa State University. Now, the call for papers for Akwa Indigenous Literature Project is out, and the deadline for submission of journal articles and reviews is 1st April 2025. And so I am hereby calling on all writers in Akwa State, all intellectuals in Akwa State to contribute papers for the Akwa Indigenous Literature Project. It is time for us to have critical comments about most of the works written by Akwa authors on the internet, so that when people need information about these works, they will be able to find them online. This is what this project is all about. We need to project our literature at this time. And I want to thank the NLNJ for making it possible for authors who send in their work not to pay publication charges. So if you're an author, you are sending in an article or a review, when your paper is accepted, when your review is accepted, after it has gone through the process, then you will not be charged publication fee. I thank the NLNG for making this possible. So everyone out there, you can write reviews about works published by Akwa authors. You can write journal articles about works published by Akwa authors. I urge you to send in your paper, send in your reviews for Akwa Indigenous literature. Now, if you are wondering the authors you should study, in the call for papers that's online at planja.com, if you Google Paneo Journal of Art and Humanities, it will take you to the website, and then you go to call for papers, Akwa Indigenous literature. You will see most of the authors we have listed there. There are many others, of course, that you can write on, but these authors are the authors who have made name in Akwa State when it comes to the writing of literature. And I am talking about authors like Itamakado, Imeikede, Ifeanyi Johnson, Ifeanyi Ekpenyong, Wemakban, Moses Akpabio, Martin Akpan, Doiba Su, Fonny Minyang, Dwa Akpabio, Daniel Udo, Morris Udom, Eyoitem, Namoso, Mokon, Utuba Hanson, Sonny Samson Akpan, Akane Sien, Numo Basi, Robert Doiba, Usora Makakono. It is time for us to celebrate these authors and their works through reviews and through journal articles. Remember that as long as authors are critiqued, their works will remain in the human memory. But when works are ignored by critics, those works tend to die. So that's why it is important for us at this time to comment on the body of work that we've had from Akwa authors. So you can write on works by Mikan Koborok, Imo Enda, Patrick Utudafon, Toby Abasi, Janet Essien, Johnson Tene, Ebony Okon, Rosemary Howard, Wemedimo, Thomas, Enyeti Song, Enyetu Sen, Monica Udoite, Basu Bom, Basi P, Nyekan Yaps, Susanna Udoka, James Enensho, Joe She, Womudoko, Daniel Inyang, Francisca Osen, and Bowen now. Of course, we have We cannot actually mention all the names because even as we speak, we have new authors coming on the scene every single day, and so you can pick any one of the authors to write on, or even the ones that are not mentioned here. So remember that the deadline for the submission of articles and reviews for Akwa Indigenous literature is on 1st of April. When your paper comes in, we will send it to the reviewers. The paper has to go through the peer review process. When that is done and it's accepted, the paper will be published on Paneo Journal of Art and Humanities, free of charge, courtesy the NLNJ. And I thank the NLNJ for making it possible for us to do this, to publish the works, the papers, the reviews, without the authors paying publication fees. And so I'm going to highlight some of the themes that I expected of the intellectuals, lecturers, students, postgraduate students who will be writing in Akwa Indigenous literature. I mean, the field is wide, the themes are many, so you can pick and choose any of these themes. Of course, if you want to look at them, take a look at them, you can go on the website, go to the website, Paneo Journal of Art and Humanities, and you'll see the themes, but I'm going to enumerate them at this point. They are Akwa Ibom Indigenous Literature as Orature. You can examine Akwa Ibom Indigenous Literature as Orature. It's quite an important theme because generally African literature has its roots in oral literature. So Akwa Ibom Indigenous Literature as Orature, we need to document that. Akwa Ibom literature in indigenous languages is a big part of Akwa Ibom Indigenous literature because language is important to the literature of any people. So the language question is always there in African literature, and Akwa Ibom literature shares in that theme. So Akwa Ibom Indigenous literature, Akwa Ibom literature in indigenous languages is one of the themes that you can examine in your write-up. Then we have Akwa Ibom Indigenous literature in pre-colonial period. Akwa Ibom Indigenous literature in the pre-colonial period. So that's another theme. Then Akwa Ibom Indigenous literature and coloniality, Akwa Ibom Indigenous literature and post-coloniality, Akwa Ibom Indigenous literature and its criticism or meta-criticism. And then we have Akwa Ibom Indigenous literature and gender studies. So you can select some texts written by Akwa Ibom authors and approach them from the critical lens of feminism. We have Akwa Ibom Indigenous literature and children's literature. And then we have the child in Akwa Ibom Indigenous literature. We have the environment and environmental concerns in Akwa Ibom Indigenous literature. Another theme is memory studies in Akwa Ibom Indigenous literature. We have trauma in Akwa Ibom Indigenous literature. We have politics and power play in Akwa Ibom Indigenous literature. And we have the supernatural in Akwa Ibom Indigenous literature. These are themes that the author could decide to write on or to examine in the course of this project. We have culture, ideology, tradition, and African sensibilities in Akwa Ibom Indigenous literature. We have slavery and colonialism in Akwa Ibom Indigenous literature. We have war in Akwa Ibom Indigenous literature. We have theater and performance of Akwa Ibom Indigenous literature. So if you can notice that if you're in the humanities and the arts and humanities, you can definitely contribute a paper because the themes are wide and varied. They cut across the disciplines in the arts and humanities, theater art, religious and cultural studies, history. So it is more or less interdisciplinary in nature, and you can approach Akwa Ibom Indigenous literature from any of these critical viewpoints. We have film and adaptation of Akwa Ibom Indigenous literature. We have Akwa Ibom Indigenous literature and the new media. We have migration and diaspora in Akwa Ibom Indigenous literature. We have identity and identity crisis in Akwa Ibom Indigenous literature. And we have music, songs in Akwa Ibom Indigenous literature. Of course, we have digital humanities in Akwa Ibom Indigenous literature. We have language and style in Akwa Ibom Indigenous literature. We have the language question in Akwa Ibom Indigenous literature. And of course, we have contemporary issues in Akwa Ibom Indigenous literature. And then we have the philosophy of Akwa Ibom Indigenous literature. So someone in philosophy can decide to look at the ideologies that are captured in literature written by Akwa Ibom authors. It's a very interesting topic, isn't it? Then you have postmodernism in Akwa Ibom Indigenous literature. And then you have the futurities of Akwa Ibom Indigenous literature. Of course, we are not limited to these themes. You can be creative on your own and find other themes that are related to writing. So it is time, it's an opportunity for us to do something positive about the body of work that we have as Akwa Ibom Indigenous literature. Submission, you should remember the submission guidelines. We will not accept papers that do not follow the guidelines, so I have to point that out right away. If you're sending your papers, you should make sure that they are up to 6,000 words. The paper should be between 6,000 and 7,000 words. That's the house style and house guidelines of the journal. For journal articles, the papers should be 6,000 or between 6,000 and 7,000 words. For reviews, we're sending in a book review. It should be between 1,500 and 2,000 words. All papers must be prepared using MS Word. Should be in Times New Roman, has font size 12, and should be sent to the editor as an email attachment. The email that you should send your paper to is planja1@gmail.com. 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 Of course, if you want more information, you can visit the website by googling Paneo Journal of Arts and Humanities. Remember that the deadline for submission is 1st April 2025. All you need to do is to write a good paper. It doesn't matter your class, you just need to be a postgraduate student and a graduate student, a lecturer and intellectual, a teacher of literature. But sending a good paper that will go through the review process and be accepted. Remember that when you're writing, you should use the APS style 7th edition citation format. APS style 7th edition citation format. Okay? The papers will be published in May 2025, and we are serious about this. We get the papers in April, we go through the review process, and by May ending this year, they are published. We want to have 2 sets of publications from this call for papers. We want to have book chapters, and then we want to have journal articles. So some of the papers will be selected and published as book chapter to be edited by my humble self. And as I've said, do not worry about the publication fee and the review fee that have been waived courtesy the NLNG. I thank the NLNG for making this possible. I'm not going to keep you long. If you want more information, you can call me 08027898705. And I'll be going off at this moment. But remember that when you write, you send in your article to the journal. You are celebrating our authors. Remember the theme for this particular issue is Akwa Ibom Indigenous literature, past, present, and future. So it's important for us to celebrate our authors, especially the ones who existed in the past, who are no more with us, we can remember them by critiquing their works, and so because they are legends. All right, thank you very much. So all the authors in Akwa Ibom State are legends, both those who are living and those who have gone to the great world beyond. And we are celebrating all authors in Akwa Ibom State today through the Akwa Ibom Indigenous Literature Project. It is time for us to put our literature out there for the world. And so I implore everyone, I call on everyone who can write, who can comment on Akwa Ibom Indigenous literature to send in the entries by 1st of April 2025. And I want to thank the NLNG for making it possible for authors to publish their papers without paying publication fees. So I'm going to leave you at this moment, and if you have any information, you can go to the web. If you need any information, you can go to the website. You can reach out to me. Thank you very much, and have a very beautiful day.